Sarah was folding laundry when the email arrived. The subject line read, "Unusual sign-in detected on your account." She almost deleted it. She'd gotten 100 emails like this before. But this one had her real name, her actual phone number, and a password she recognized, one she hadn't used in almost 3 years. The password from a shopping site she'd forgotten even existed. She sat down on the edge of the bed and just stared at the screen, because if they had that password, what else did they have? This is the story of how one forgotten account, from one small website, ended up draining Sarah's bank account 2 years later, and the exact chain of events that made it possible. This story is a composite based on patterns from real data breach cases. The details are illustrative, but the mechanics are exactly how these attacks actually unfold. 3 years earlier, Sarah bought a phone case from a small online store. Nothing special. She made an account, typed in her email, picked a password she'd used a few times before, and never thought about it again. 18 months later, that store got hacked. Their entire customer database, emails, names, phone numbers, passwords, got copied and sold on a forum most people will never see. Sarah had no idea. The store never even sent a notice. Some companies don't. Her data just sat there, waiting. Here's what most people don't understand about a breach like this. Having your information stolen doesn't mean you're already in danger. What happens next depends entirely on 3 things: what exactly got stolen, whether it's still relevant today, and what the person holding it decides to do with it. For a while, nothing happened. Sarah's data just existed in some file, mixed in with millions of other people's. Then, about a year later, someone bought that file. Not the original hacker, a completely different person, further down the chain, who specializes in one thing: testing stolen email and password pairs against other websites. This is the part that surprises people. Criminals don't sit there guessing your password. They run software that automatically tries the same email and password combination across hundreds of popular sites, banking apps, email providers, shopping platforms, in seconds. Sarah's forgotten password from that phone case store, she'd used the exact same one for her email account 4 years ago, before she upgraded it slightly. Same base password, slightly different ending. It didn't match her current email password exactly, but it was close enough that, combined with her name and phone number from the same leaked file, it gave someone a very convincing starting point. They didn't get into her email that day. But they didn't need to. Instead, she got an email. It looked like it came from her bank. It had her name. It referenced a real recent purchase, because whoever sent it had pieced together enough personal details from multiple leaks to make it feel legitimate. "We noticed unusual activity. Please verify your account." She almost clicked it. Almost. This is the moment where most attacks either succeed or fail completely, and it comes down to one decision. Sarah didn't click. She closed the email, opened her banking app directly, and checked her account herself. Nothing looked wrong. She moved on with her day. But 6 months after that, it happened again. A different email. This time, it referenced her actual old password, the one from the phone case store. "We detected your password may have been compromised in a recent breach. Click here to secure your account." This time, she clicked. And that single click is where the story could have gone one of 2 ways. Let's stop here for a second, because this is exactly where the entire outcome gets decided. Not just for Sarah, but for anyone who gets a message like this. If the data behind an attack like this is just contact information, a name, an email, a phone number, the real risk is more convincing phishing. Annoying, but survivable. If it includes login credentials, an email and a password, the risk multiplies, especially if that password was ever reused anywhere else. One leaked password can become the key to several accounts, without a hacker ever touching most of them directly. If financial information is involved, a card number, a bank account, that requires immediate action, checking transactions and potentially replacing a card. And if it's identity-level data, a social security number, a passport, a driver's license, someone could try to open entirely new accounts in your name. Sarah's case involved the second category, a reused password.
And reused passwords are, statistically, the single most common thread connecting a small forgotten breach to a much bigger loss months or years later.
When she clicked that link, it took her to a page that looked identical to her bank's login screen. She typed in her email and her actual current banking password. 3 days later, $420 was gone from her account, sent to an account she'd never heard of. Here's the part of the story that matters more than the loss itself. What she did in the next 48 hours is the exact difference between "this got worse" and "this got contained." She called her bank immediately, using the number on the back of her card, not the one from the email. They reversed the transaction and flagged the account. She went to her email account directly and changed the password to something she'd never used anywhere before in her life. She checked her email's recovery settings, the backup phone number, the forwarding rules, the list of connected devices, and found something she didn't expect. A forwarding rule she had never set up, quietly sending copies of every email to an address she didn't recognize. Someone had been reading her email for weeks, maybe longer. She deleted the rule, signed out of every device, and turned on two-factor authentication, the one thing that had been missing this entire time.
It's worth pausing on that detail, because it's the single biggest gap in most people's security. A password is never supposed to be the only thing standing between a stranger and your account. Without a second factor, whoever has your password just has your account. With one, they hit a wall. Sarah's story ends without a dramatic twist. No stolen identity, no years-long nightmare. $420, refunded. A scare, a wake-up call. But it very easily could have gone further. Because the same reused password that got tested against her bank was almost certainly also sitting on her cloud storage, her social media, maybe a work account. She just happened to catch it at the bank stage before it reached anywhere else. Here's what her experience actually reveals about how these attacks work, stripped down to the mechanics. It starts with a breach you probably won't hear about, a small company, a forgotten account, data that sits untouched for months or years. It gets combined with other leaked data over time, building a fuller picture of who you are. It gets tested against your email, your bank, anywhere the same password might still work. And the entire chain runs through one gateway most people don't think to protect first, their primary email account, because that's where every password reset link ends up landing. Break the chain at any point, and the attack stops. Change a reused password before it's tested, and it goes nowhere. Add two-factor authentication, and even a correct password stops being enough. Catch a phishing email before clicking, and there's nothing to click on. The uncomfortable truth is that most people are one email away from finding out whether their old passwords are still sitting in a leaked database somewhere, and whether they've reused them anywhere that actually matters. In the next video, we're going to check exactly that. How to find out if your own information is already out there, and which of your passwords might be quietly connecting accounts you never meant to link together.